Hello world. Thank you for coming to my channel, The Life of Poon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I truly appreciate it. I'm truly grateful for this moment because I'm stronger than I ever been in my life. And I still go through the struggle. But that struggle will not define me. It will make me stronger. It will make me wiser. And the obstacles I battle, I will kick them bitches to the side because do you know who I am? Don't let me start preaching and it's only 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever time you looking at this time at. But anyway. I want to talk about the birds is really chirping out here today, baby. So if you hear them in the background, just like I said, I'm in tropical paradise. And today what I want to talk about, baby, I got so riled up this morning. My mind is everywhere. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna name the title, baby. Y'all gonna have to give me a second, so I'm gonna just talk. And whatever comes out is just gonna come out. Give me a second. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today I want to talk about love, being in love because of guilt. I did it numerous of times. And like the saying says, it's better to have love and loss to not have love at all. And what I get from that quote is, it's so beneficial to open up your heart to fully embrace love and fully be in love than to not be in it at all. Because let me tell you, from my love struggles and my love battles with family, friends, relationships, it made me stronger, it made me wiser, it gave me a fun ride that we call life. And yeah, I'm single today, but it was just one of those things that it was fun while it lasted. It was a blessing while it lasted when we were on the best of terms. And I had to realize that when it comes to love, I have to embrace it. I have to open up my heart. I have to be willing to be vulnerable because it's such a blessing to fully say if it's when it's over. Not saying that all relationships aren't forever. I don't want to step on anyone's toes out there because you have to learn it for yourself, but it's just one of those things that I had to realize that it's more fun embracing love and more fun being in love than just having my partner like this the whole time, because that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing, baby. And like, oh my God. If you've seen a little armpit, it's fresh. So back to my story. It's better to have, baby, see, this is the shit that be making people not want to be out in nature. God damn. Stuff flying from trees and birds steady chirping, interrupting my podcast and shit. Damn. So anyway, It's so much better to be in love, and so much better to fully embrace one another, and so much better to just have love than to not love at all. And I've been on both ends of that. I've been in love where I was standing like this and it wasn't doing me justice. It was actually doing me a disservice, because once we broke up, I realized how much had love for him. And that goes for straight couples as well. And I've been on the other field where I was just like, fuck love. I don't need love. I don't want love, this and that. But then I realized that it's so much fun, like doing stuff with somebody that I can truly say gives me that attention, gives me that love, gives me that care. And it's like I give myself that love, that care, but it's so much, it's another feeling when someone else can do it, and it heightens everything. So back to what I was saying, the title of this video, because I know I did got sidetracked. But I was in love a few times because of guilt. Sucks to say it, but I had to come to reality. And it's crazy because I was in love, but it wasn't really love. And I had to realize that. I was only in love with them because I felt guilty of the things that I done, the things that I said, the things that I didn't forgive myself about. And when I fell in love with them, they were falling out of love with me. And it was one of those things that I had to realize that it wasn't true love. It was only me being in love with the guilt, because I wanted to continuously beat myself up, continuously think that I wasn't a good person, continuously think that I was just some horrible person. When in all honesty, I wasn't. I was learning. And I was only in love because I didn't forgive myself. And by me not forgiving myself, it took me through a dark tunnel. It made me not forgive them. It made me feel like the devil because I had all this baggage on me from their shit and my shit. And I just felt low. I was actually in a low vibration by being in love with them, because I didn't realize at the time the only reason why I was in love is because I didn't forgive myself. I didn't forgive them as well. And like I always do, I'll tell you a story. So grab a seat, write some notes, get your number 2 pencil, bitches. So, one of my boyfriends, we were going out, and the whole time I knew in my head that he wasn't right for me. Now that I look at it, I was just so infatuated on his looks, because I just loved it. And I was like, wow, like, you're gorgeous. But the whole entire time we weren't clicking. And a lot of that had to do with me because I was insecure and I didn't want to open up my own heart. And we just weren't clicking. And I knew it for like 3-4 months. We was going out, and I just knew, like, it just wasn't, I wasn't getting my life and he wasn't getting his. So he broke up with me. And if you're like me, I cried and cried. Not because he broke up with me, you see. I cried because I felt rejected. I felt low. I felt like I did something wrong. And you see, I didn't do anything wrong. We just wasn't connecting the way we were supposed to connect. And I was young at the time, so of course I'm not gonna know what to do when the certain problems that I was having because I was blind to it. So he broke up with me, and I cried for him to come back because of feeling that rejection. And that was the most emotions that he probably seen out of me out of the 3 or 4 months that we was together. So by his rejection, me being young, like 20 at the time, 19, me being young, I just back away from me. Baby, you see how the devil works, trying to distract me, trying to not get this message out here? But not today, Satan. Bitch, this is still gonna go. And I'm not editing it, because I don't got time, because I'm a very profitable man. I got things to do. So, let's get back serious. So, by me feeling his rejection, I went out and tried to cure my pain by messing with someone else. And we didn't even, me and the other person, we didn't have sex, but, or oral sex, but it was a sexual moment. And I thought at the time that that was gonna do me justice because I just felt so hurt and so low, and I just thought, one, I want to feel better and I want to get back at him. But you see, I was doing myself a disservice by doing that, because the next motherfucker didn't love me. They didn't care anything about me. They just seen all of this glory and wanted a piece of it, and knew and took advantage of me feeling low about myself. So I did what it did, and I told my ex. Why did I do that? Who knows? Maybe it was for me to tell this story. And when I told him, he was hurt. He probably didn't really care because he knew he didn't love me, and like we knew that we didn't connect. So it was just like, I'm not gonna say he didn't care, because he did care, he did love me, but we just didn't connect. But so he didn't take it as, I can't even speak for him. So I told him, and for the next like several months, I tried to get him back, and I was so in love with my guilt. Not in love with him. I just felt so guilty, and I didn't want to forgive myself, and didn't want to realize that we didn't even connect in the first place. We wasn't even a union in the first place. But I was just so infatuated on him forgiving me because I didn't forgive myself. And it was just one of those things that I went through a hard time those months later, going through that, because I was just in a place where I just wanted to go back out with him because I just wanted his forgiveness. So those few months went by, and I was just crying my eyes out every day because I was like, I love him, I love him, I love him. But it was like, when you were in a relationship with him, you didn't want to embrace it. You was still young at the time and didn't even know what love was. And it taught me that when you get in love with somebody, when God places someone in front of you in a relationship, embrace it, because you don't know how that person is going to help you, and you don't know how you're going to help that other person. And it's just one of those things that I had to realize, that love grows when you embrace it and when you be vulnerable. Love doesn't grow when you're like this the whole time. Love me from a distance. It doesn't work that way. And I was like that in my late teens, early 20s. So those months after, I told him, like I said, I was just trying to get him back, because I didn't forgive myself. I wasn't even looking at the part that was saying that when y'all was together, y'all wasn't even connecting. So tried to get him back. Went through a depression because I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't ruin my life. I didn't lost the love of my life. Blah blah blah. I only caused that on myself because I didn't forgive myself. So during that time period of me trying to get him back and trying to get his forgiveness and just trying to be on better terms with him, made me realize it takes time. Time can heal a lot of things. And you can't apply that pressure on people, because that's only going to push them away. And that's what he did. He pushed so far away from me, and I would get angrier and angrier because I knew how further away he was leaving me and going on to the next person, and it would just anger me. So I said things. I did things that wasn't even in my character because I was just so hurt. Hurt people. So, moving on. My next relationship came during the time of my healing, and I could have embraced that opportunity by fully being in love and fully being thankful that someone else is caring for me, and someone else is there for me. But you see, I wasn't properly healed. I was still worrying about the ex when a new person came. And it was one of those things that I didn't see at the time that I was supposed to embrace that. But I was still worried about my past. I was still stuck on my past. I was still so-called in love with my past, but it was in love with that guilt from my past. So the new person came, tried to heal me up, patch together my wounds, and I was ungrateful because I was thinking about my past. So it made me realize that also, you can't heal no one. It's up for that person to heal themselves. You can't get no one out of a rut. It's up for them to get themselves out of that rut. And I'm not saying don't be there as a positive figure and a positive contributor. But what I'm saying is, if you think that you can change someone and change their whole ways and their attitude and whatever, you can't. It's up for that motherfucker to really stand in their power and get themselves together and stand up tall and forgive themselves. Because that's probably why they're in their rut, because they don't forgive themselves. So, moving forward, because it's going on 20 minutes. This is my longest video ever, girl. So the next person come, trying to heal me up, patch up my wounds, and like I said, I was being ungrateful, and I wasn't seeing that as a blessing to move forward and to forgive myself, because I just felt low. So when the new guy was around me trying to help me out, I appreciate it now, but at the time I didn't. And when he was around me, it was one of those things that since I wasn't healed and I didn't really fully learn my lesson, that I did the same thing to the new guy because I was so hurt, because I just felt like so low. And we wasn't even going out at the time. We wasn't going out, me and the new guy. We was just like talking on the phone, kicking it and doing like cute stuff. But it was one of those things that I should have moved forward instead of thinking in my past. So I did the same thing to him because I wasn't healed, because I felt low, because I was just feeling so guilty and feeling like I didn't lost the love of my life. And it was one of those things that, and like I said, instead of embracing it, I just was like thinking all types of stuff like, oh, he just wants me because of this. Oh, he just wants me because of that. But in all honesty, that new guy was there to help me get past a few things in my life. And I didn't want to see that. So I did the same thing to him. And when I did that to him, we wasn't even going out, but it was one of those things that the devil definitely caught up with me. And it took me to a low place. So when the whole situation, all the truth came to the light, and the new guy found out that like he wasn't the only one, it was hurtful, it was painful, and I felt even more ashamed about myself. I felt even more guilty about myself because I never healed, because I never forgave myself, because I felt disgusted with myself. So when he found out, it even brought me even lower. It made me feel like shit. And what did I do? I went back to my dark phases again, where when he so-called forgave me, which he didn't. And that's when I realized that if you lose someone's trust, you won't get it back. Because I fought for 2 years to try to get it back, and it never happened. It was one of those things that I had to realize, that when I started falling in love with him because of his so-called forgiveness, because I just felt like in my heart, oh my gosh, he can forgive me for something like that. And his excuse was we wasn't going out, so I forgive you. But he didn't really forgive me. Subconsciously, he wanted to get his revenge and hurt me as bad as I hurt him. And now looking at it, I understand, because he was there for me, and I didn't want to see that. So that whole 2 years of me trying to win him back, win back his trust, everything I did, it just wasn't good enough. So I went through this dark phase in my life where with the new guy, I was doing what I did with the old guy, which was falling in love because of guilt. I was only in love with the new guy because I felt guilty and ashamed and low and disgusted because I didn't forgive myself. And it was one of those things that I had to realize, that forgiving yourself can heal so many wounds. Forgiving others can heal so many wounds. And it was that instant of those 2 years that I realized that he didn't really love me either. I fell in love with him because of my guilt, and he stuck around with me to take out his revenge. So you only can tell what type of toxic behavior we both had on each other, because we both didn't trust each other. And I'm not gonna tell everything that happened. Maybe you can see that in another video of like the toxic things that toxic relationships and videos that I have. But it was one of those things that for those 2 years with the new guy that I was telling you about, for those 2 years I'm trying to fight and fight to win back his trust, and it didn't happen. And we just was battling the whole entire time period, all because I didn't forgive myself from the previous relationship. So that guilt, that hurt, that insecurity, that feeling low about myself, that feeling disgusted with myself, that low vibration energy followed me for years into a whole new relationship, a whole new person. It followed me because I didn't want to forgive myself. And it just made me realize that overall, that I was doing myself a disservice the whole entire time period for those 7 years. And made me realize you can try to run away from your problems, but if you do not work on them and do not heal them, those problems will still be in the back of your mind. Them problems will still be on your back. They will still haunt you and still be there if you keep trying to run away and not deal with the shits. Because in all honesty, I had two love of my lives. Two people that I truly cared about and truly still to this day have love for. But I was in love with the guilt. I was in love with beating myself up. And by me being in love with the guilt, beating myself up constantly, I attracted that person. I attracted that person. He morphed into that person, which was the person that is going to tear me down emotionally, tear me down physically, tear me down in any type of way that he could. And I went through a great depression where, like, at times I didn't want to be here. At times I just felt lower than low. I felt like my family didn't love me. I felt like, how could I ever receive love when I did this and did that? Because I didn't forgive myself. And I know I keep saying that, but it's just to the point where you have to forgive yourself, because we all make mistakes. And you really have to embrace love when it comes to you, because love takes time to build up. But embrace that person, because at the end of the day, you never know how they're going to benefit you, and you don't know how you're going to benefit them. And it was that lesson that I had to learn, that you can't run. You truly can't run from it. You gotta understand why you're hurting, and it takes time. But it's one of those things that you have to understand, that you can't play around and think that it's okay with people's feelings. You can't just be so lost in your own world where you think no one else matters. And I had to realize that that's not okay. That's not cool. And I was only hurting myself. I was only hurting myself by the first relationship, by just trying to get back with him when I knew I didn't fully love him and he didn't fully love me. I just wanted to get back with him because I just felt rejected. And then with the guy that came to try to patch up our wounds, made me realize that I had to forgive myself. And that was the whole entire lesson that I needed to learn. Because by me not doing that, it created that toxic person that would beat me up, that would talk down upon me, that would just make me feel lower than myself, because in all honesty, that wasn't love. Love is to build each other up, not tear each other down. And like I said, it took me through hell and back, but I'm in a better place now. And the crazy thing about those toxic behaviors that I had, I still have love for them. And I still have love for that toxic relationship that just put me through depression. But I know one thing: I can't be with that person, because it just brought me down to a point where I didn't want to be here. And I was willing, I was ready to do all types of things to end it. But good thing I didn't, because I'm here today and I am feeling more love than I ever felt before. And I had to realize that I created that person. Like I said, because I was constantly beating myself up, because I was constantly dogging myself, that I created that person that morphed into my negative thoughts. And it made me realize I can't do that. I gotta be my biggest cheerleader, because if I'm not cheering myself on, who's going to? And that's all I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some clear insight. Hopefully that helped you out. Or hopefully it gave you some tea. Either way, love yourself, forgive yourself, because it's an everyday journey. It's an everyday journey. It's an everyday journey, and I'm gonna leave it at that.